On this episode of Hopeful Romantics, we discuss how to let go of past hurts and embrace new love. What's up, friends? This is DJ Bagwell, and I am here with my wonderful wife, Denise.
Hello, hello.
And so welcome to the all-new podcast called Hopeful Romantics.
Woohoo.
That's right. And so this is a new podcast that we're launching in the Share Hope Global Podcast Network. And this is all about relationships, love, romance, dating advice. That's right. And so, first of all, Denise, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm excited about this.
That's right, because guess what? Whenever we do a podcast on our original podcast, the Share Hope Global Podcast, you can check that out in your free time. It's on every streaming platform. But whenever we do a podcast on there and we talk about relationships, love, dating, those are our most downloaded and listened to podcasts. So we said, you know what? Let's just make a spin-off podcast all about relationships.
Yep.
Now, you might be wondering, who is this podcast for? Well, let's go through it. Okay, so say you're someone who's in a relationship, hoping to keep the love alive. This is for you.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's probably us, right? We're in a relationship,
Right.
and we want to keep it spicy, keep
And
it
it doesn't
alive.
matter how long or how short the relationship has been. It's just for everybody.
That's true. If you are someone not in a relationship, say you're single right now or taking a break from dating, but you're still hopeful for love, this is for you. That's right. So you don't have to be in a relationship. Maybe you're getting advice on how you can do your next relationship better. Maybe you're a young person looking for, how do I maybe have a healthy relationship when I'm ready for it?
Right.
This is for you.
Yes.
And finally, for people who have maybe been hurt, but still hope to rekindle love in their life, this is
That's a
especially
good
for
one.
you.
Yes.
Right? And so this podcast is for anyone in between those areas as well. So if you're in a relationship, not in a relationship, maybe you're just full of hurt right now because you've been hurt by someone in your previous relationship and you want to start to maybe think about love again, or maybe you're not thinking about love at all, but
Right.
there's still a little bit of hope in your heart for relationships.
Everybody deserves love. Everybody wants to be loved. And so we're excited to do this. You know, share what we know.
Definitely. And so let's start with that, Denise. Let's talk about who we are.
Right.
So some people who are new to us, again, my name is DJ. This is my wife, Denise Bagwell. And so we are not relationship experts.
Not at all.
Not at all. In fact, you'll hear us probably mess some stuff up. And we'll tell you more about how we messed up and how we came over it.
Right.
We are not relationship therapists or counselors.
Nope.
So why listen to us? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. Number one, we are going on 10 years of marriage. So there's
Yes.
people who have been married a lot longer than us. But somehow, people often come to us for relationship advice.
Right.
I think because they see love in our relationship.
Right.
I think they see a family that's strong and vibrant. So we have 3
Right.
kids. But we've also come from different backgrounds, different countries, different cultures. So you might notice my wife has a South African accent.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and so I am from good old Midwestern Illinois. So we come with different backgrounds, different relationships from our parents that we saw.
Right.
But we're keeping it strong. We're not perfect, but we're going to keep striving to have the romance alive in our relationship.
Exactly. And I think what also attract people to us, and, you know, people reaching out to us because they see that we're friends. And I think a lot of people miss that part, that you're supposed to be friends. You know?
I agree. Yeah.
I love it. I'm doing a podcast with my friend, people. Hey.
And hopefully you're listening to this podcast with your friends. So if you started alone, maybe you can say, hey,
Right.
honey, why don't you watch this with me? Or maybe you're single, so you can just imagine your honey and visualize what they may be like. Come on, somebody.
Right. Right.
But also, we are pastors. Actually, so we are based in Tampa Bay, and so we're pastors of our second location for City Life Church. Shout out City Life Church in
Yes.
Tampa. And so a lot of things you will hear are based on our experiences doing it wrong. And by wrong, we mean making mistakes. But a lot of the things we've learned and things that we've got right, we've learned from the Bible.
Right.
And so maybe that's not your background. That's okay. Don't leave us.
No.
Because there's plenty of principles in the
Right.
Bible that you don't even know that we use every day. And so you might not be in a place where you want to say, well, I'm an all out Christian, but maybe there's a biblical principle
Right.
that you like that we share. But just so you know that that's where we get a lot of our harmony from and peace from and direction from. And while we don't get it right every time, we're constantly striving to be the best we can.
Exactly.
And so, in that relationship as pastors, we're often helping people through relationships. We're often giving people counsel.
Right.
Again, we're not certified counselors, but we do have experience working with different couples in different places.
And I think experience is so important because that's the place you can talk from. And we've learned so much in the 10 years. You know, when I think about it, it doesn't feel like 10 years, but thank God. And we've always made it a point to sit down and learn from whatever mistakes we have, whatever experience we have. And so we're literally just going to share our life, what
agree.
we've learned. We're not going to make up stuff, And I think going back to the whole biblical thing is that most people don't realize that some of the people you listen to actually get some of their stuff or most of their stuff from the Bible. You know what I mean? And so we just upfront and honest about it. So I'm looking forward to this, really.
I'm definitely looking forward to. And Denise, you mentioned about our experience. And there might be some people listening. You've been married for 30 years. You're like, what can I
Right.
learn from these people? Well, guess what? I think another part that made our relationship strong and making it stronger is that we're willing to get the advice of people from that have been doing this longer than us. So
Right.
when we came into our marriage, we pulled on our parents, we pulled on our leaders in our life, we pulled on other friends who have been married longer. So we're not saying we're the experts in marriage and we know more than anybody else. What we're saying is we're on a journey and we're
Right.
intentional and we're willing to listen, we're willing to teach, and we're willing to hopefully share with other people that are hopeful about love.
Yes. So come on the journey with us.
Come on the
y'all.
journey. So let's dig into this episode. So this episode, as you heard in the intro, we're talking about how to let go of past hurts and embrace new love. Now that's deep. That's a strong first one, all right?
Just first one, just like that.
That's right. But guess what? If we're honest, everybody's been hurt in a relationship before. I said, Denise, have you been hurt?
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Me too. And probably less so me, but here's why I probably have been less hurt. And if you're one of those people saying, well, I've never been hurt before, it's because often I was guarding my heart so much I never opened up. And maybe it's
Yep.
because you're scared to be hurt. So
Right.
in either camp, if you've been hurt and you have a big bleeding heart that's been hurt, or maybe you've put yourself out there a little bit and got rejected, and so now you don't put yourself out there anymore, then this might be helpful to you.
Yes.
And you might enjoy this. And by the way, we want to definitely invite you to send in listener voicemails. So we're on anchor.fm, and we want to make sure that you are part of this show. This isn't just about us. We want you to be interactive in our show. So make sure you send a voicemail in. We'll put the link in the bottom of the podcast episode notes.
Yes.
But we want to hear from you and your thoughts and learn from you.
Right.
And if you have questions, send them in, and hopefully we can answer them in future podcasts.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
let's talk about this. What are some ways that you can be hurt in a relationship? Denise, what are some different ways that people get hurt in relationships?
Cheating.
That sounds like somebody. That sounds real right there.
Dishonesty.
We can dig into that. So, okay.
There's look, we're gonna be real, right? So I'm being real. That is true. That's one of the I guess number one things that people are dishonest, just cheating and lying. And like I'm talking from experience as well, so that's for me, I think that's one of the number one reasons, just cheating and lying and being dishonest.
Yeah. So, really, you can even put that in a category of broken trust, right?
Right.
Where I've heard of relationships where people are dishonest about money, right? They're kind of
Yes.
taking money and not saying anything, or maybe you make a lot of promises how you're going to change and you never do, or to your point, something as big as adultery, where you're
Right.
married and you're cheating, or even cheating as boyfriends and girlfriends. And that's why a lot of people come into relationships with so much baggage.
Say that again.
I'm going to say it again. So many people come into relationships with baggage. And so why is
Yes.
that? Because if you don't heal from that, that's a scar and sometimes not even a scar. It's an open wounds you carry around
Right.
that never even gets a chance to heal and become a scar.
Right.
Because I think it's healthy to have scars, but it's not healthy to have open wounds.
Open wounds. No.
Right?
That's
That can
right.
lead to infections and all types of stuff like that. So we definitely want to dig into that a little bit more. So we talk about broken trust, whether it's money,
Right.
whether it's infidelity, maybe it's promises that are promised and never fulfilled.
Right.
Another thing that can hurt people in relationships are words.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You ever heard the saying, sticks and
Sticks and stones.
stones can break my bones, but words never hurt me? We know that is
That is
not
a
true.
lie.
That is a straight up lie. And I think especially let's be real, as a married couple, I know we've both said things to each other that can hurt each other. Now, why can married people hurt each other worse than any other couple? Because you know each other. You know the triggers. You know the different points, especially if you open yourself up in marriage. It's a great
Right.
responsibility to have those intimate secrets about somebody.
Right. Right.
And you have to have the maturity not to lash out and say,
Right.
well, you know what? You told me this, you know what? You told me you used to be a cheater. And you know what? I bet you're going to do it again because you're a dog and you're a cheater. It's like, hey, I'll let you know that's how I used to be. Hold on, wait. Or...
Don't bring up my boss now.
Right. Like, I told you about it because I want you to know who I used to. Yeah.
But that goes back to the first point what you said about open wounds, and coming in with scars, but don't come in with open wounds, and that just shows that if you can give words back like that, you have not healed from some stuff. That there's still stuff that you carrying around, and so words can hurt. People dig deep in words can hurt, and people will always remember what you say. And for me, I feel that healing needs to take place before you even jump into a relationship, especially if you've been rejected. If you have been cheated on, if you've been lied on, you have to heal before you go. Because then you said it yourself that you go in with baggage. There's no baggage allowed in the next relationship.
No, leave the bags at home. Ain't no carry-ons in love.
Do not come with baggage. That is not allowed. Leave the baggage alone. When you come healed already.
And we'll talk about how to do that next.
Right.
But I want to touch on one more area of how are some different ways that people get hurt. And the last one that we'll share, and there's many more ways, but are mismatched expectations. Now, what does that mean? So have you ever been in a relationship, or maybe you were in your current relationship and it started off this way, where maybe one person was a little further along than the other one? Right? Or maybe, you were deep in love and they weren't, and so you got hurt because they weren't reciprocating the feelings you had. Or maybe you were expecting your marriage to look like this and it looks something different, right? What are some examples of that, right?
Those TV relationships that people want.
My goodness, yeah. Could you imagine, if you were basing your relationship expectations on I Love Lucy or whatever, the Cosby Family, I don't know, whatever TV show there is, or some movie where they're perfect and everybody has six packs, and you're like, man, how these people are doctors and lawyers have six packs and they got 5 kids? That's because it's TV, y'all. Okay?
Right.
And I'm sure there's some doctors out there listening right now that you got your 6-pack and you got your 5 kids. God bless you. But,
Amen.
but for everybody else out there, when we try to put these perfect Hollywood stories, right? I mean, think about our podcast name, Hopeful Romantics. Oftentimes we see those movies of those hopeless romantics, right? They go through life and they're just hopelessly chasing love and romance, and it never happens. And sometimes, then finally in the movie, though, they find that Prince Charming. Well, what if your Prince Charming has a bunch of scars from past relationships?
Yeah.
What if your Cinderella has issues? Come on now.
Come on, Cinderella.
You're Prince Charming looking for Cinderella, and also you're looking for the one with that perfect shoe, but that shoe doesn't fit because she gained a little weight after the baby.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying.
That is true, though. That is so true.
So we have to be real with their expectations, right?
Yes.
Or
yes.
can we get real deep? Maybe about relating to sex. That's right. We're gonna talk about sex in this podcast, and
Right.
maybe you come from watching a lot of movies and pornography. That's right. We can keep
And
it
have
really
that
real.
expectations.
And now you want your wife to be a porn star,
I'm sorry.
Right?
It's real though. I'm laughing, but it is real though, you know? And then you don't, it's like unspoken. You say, mismatch expectations, but sometimes we have unspoken expectations, because I believe that if you speak about it and you tell your partner about it, they'll let you know that I am no porn star. Okay, that is not gonna happen, you know, and you guys will get to a point where you can agree on something. So
Well, and let's talk about this one last thing too. And that might be dramatic for some, maybe for
right,
others it's not. But even if it's about intimacy and the communication, where you grew up in a family where you talked about everything and your spouse didn't. I know you and I come from different homes like that. Your
yeah,
family was very affectionate. My family was not as affectionate as yours. And so, just what does that look like in a marriage? And
right,
you're expecting me to hug you and kiss you all day long. And I'm like,
right.
girl, that's not what I do. And we have to meet in the middle
That's true.
somewhere. And we
Yeah,
can get hurt trying to
right,
meet in the middle,
right,
right?
right,
Or maybe it's something as simple as, for a man, he's looking for physical needs to be met, and a woman's looking
right.
for communication and intimacy and connection. And I'm expecting you to be ready whenever I am, but you're like, I'm not ready because you don't talk to me.
Right.
Come on
Right.
now. I mean, right?
Right.
So that's what we're gonna dig into. So now let's talk about in the last part of our podcast here of how do you start to go forward from those words that hurt you, from that broken trust or mismanaged expectations. So now, Denise, you mentioned it first. You talked about healing. So I think a part of healing begins with forgiveness,
Yes.
right? So how do you heal? I think forgiving the other person, whether you're with
Right.
them or not.
Yep.
So
So
do you have an
I
experience with
mean
that?
I can like, again, speak from experience, you know, because it's personally happened with me. I just know that every woman, and I think I can speak for every woman. We dream about being married and happily married and in this beautiful relationship. And so when that doesn't happen, you get hurt along the way. That doesn't mean that every man is like that. You know, I
Tell
know
them, Nisi,
some.
tell them.
I know some women believe like, all men's are dogs and all that. No, that's not true. It just mean that the one that you were with did not appreciate you as the blessing that God has given them, and so they couldn't take care of it. And so the first thing that you have to do is, first of all, forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself, and
So if I can stop you for a moment now, why should someone, right? Because I can imagine people feeling like, well, why should I forgive myself? He's the dog that cheated, or he's the dog that did this.
why?
Break that down.
Because okay, and I will break it down. For instance, with myself, I had to sit down and forgive myself. That Denise, you did not a mistake for falling in love. You did not make a mistake. You didn't, because people are like, oh no, you made a mistake. You don't know. Hold on. At the time, I did not feel like it was a mistake. So I had to forgive myself. And then I had to forgive him and let that go. Because if you forgive the person who hurt you, it's so much easier to let it go. But if you harbor on feelings and you keep talking about it and you keep bringing it up and you keep, oh, this and that, it just doesn't help you healing at all. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. And so if I can add, I remember we were counseling a couple one time, and there was infidelity. And I remember telling one of the couple that was, I guess, the innocent party in the infidelity, like, if you're not going to forgive that other person,
Right,
I mean, forget about it, right? If you're going to keep bringing it up every day, I mean, if you plan, because again, their plan was to stay together. We're going to
right,
fight through this,
right.
and you know what? We're going to get through this infidelity. Well, okay. If you bring it up every day and don't let it go, that's going to be hard to
That's gonna
overcome.
be so hard. Yeah. And so that we're talking about now people that, had infidelity and married. But if you are the one that you're still praying and for a partner and you went through that and God has, given you strength to deal with everything else, after you're forgiven, you move on. And when you meet the next person or your partner that God has given you, you don't bring that with, because that's not the person that hurt you. That's not the person that did not appreciate you. And so many times we walk in a relationship with a feeling of, or having the barriers up. You know what I mean? You have, oh no, I got my walls up, I'm not going to let him in. Oh no, I'm not going to do this. You might just miss out on a blessing. on somebody that can treat you as the blessing that you are. And so you gotta let that go. And when we say no baggage allowed, don't bring that person in your relationship.
Okay.
You already been with the person. You've already been in a relationship. Let that go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let
Let
it
it
go.
go.
Don't give it place. You know what I mean? Because now you bring the person, the name, the situation, the circumstances, and everything in that new relationship. You have no space to enjoy the new
She
relationship.
preaching, y'all. All right. So, first step is forgiveness yourself
Yes.
and the other person.
Yes.
We're not bringing that baggage. We're going to let it go, like Prophet Elsa said. Let it go.
Let it go.
Number 2 is have an open mind. So,
Right.
this is what I'll share. A lot of times when we get hurt, we lock down. We don't want to receive love again. We're like, you know what? In fact, you mentioned it. All men are like this or all women are like this, so I'm just
Right.
going to give up. And so this show is really about being hopeful.
Right.
If you are hopeful, that means that you are open to possibility. And it might not be right away. It might be 10 years from now. It might take you 5 years to heal. It might take you some time for that open wound to close and turn into a scar.
Right.
But that scar is a symbol that you made it through that pain. You made it through that hurt. And so it's okay to have scars.
Yeah.
But you have to, after that thing closes up and the scar is there, you can't let that scar stop you from jumping out again.
Yes.
So you have to
Yes,
be
yes,
open-minded.
yes.
And I would say,
Absolutely.
so Denise, I know in fact, if we can share kind of from our relationship,
Right.
I know when we started dating, you had come out of a relationship and there was a lot of bad things that went on there.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing I can say that made me more open to dating you, knowing that, you were hurt previously and some different things that happened, that you had an open mind. And because
Right.
you weren't bringing baggage with you, I was like, you know what? I think this can work. Because you were open-minded to me, even though whoever in the
Right.
past was doing craziness, it's like you were like, I'm not going to bring baggage. So you literally walked that out. And I
Yeah.
saw that when we were dating. And that was encouraging to me as someone that was in a place of not being hurt recently and just
Right.
open. So,
And that's the thing that, coming into that or into our relationship was easy because I made the decision. So you have to make the decision that you're not bringing in that. Don't do it. And as much as there's a lot of people that I had to leave
what do you mean? Like, you mean like
you know,
friends and whatnot?
friends,
Yeah.
yes. There's a lot of friends that always wanted to talk about it, always
friends
wanted
love
to
to bring
bring
back
it
that stuff,
exactly.
right? Remember you
and
used to do this? Oh, remember him?
right. Oh, remember he did? No, I didn't want that because I didn't want to bring that with me. So if there's some people that you have to kind of let go at the minute, you kind of have to do that, just so that you have peace.
So you're saying sometimes friends could be baggage.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you
Oh
go.
yes.
Well, there you go. So, and here's the last thing we're going to say before we wrap it up is the last thing you can do, or one of the last things you can do to go forward from brokenness and to embrace new love is to have hope.
Yes.
That's what this show is about, is hope. I mean, do
Right.
you really believe that love is possible?
Right.
Do you believe that there's someone out there for you?
Right.
Do you truly believe that you're worth it?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Do you believe
Yes.
that?
I'm sorry. I feel as you're talking, I'm still going through, just my own experience. You have to speak it. You have to believe it. And you have to hope that there is somebody that will recognize you, see you, and love you.
Yeah. And all that comes with you, right?
Right.
No baggage,
Right.
but we all carry things with us, right? And so will that person be patient with you as you try to embrace new love? And that's a great time to communicate and say, look, I'm trying my best, but it's going to take me some time.
Right.
And maybe you're not supposed to be in a relationship at that time, or maybe you can be in a relationship but take it slow. But I think it's important to say, I'm hoping for this. I believe there's a future with us.
Right.
But being open and honest up front, being transparent and saying, it's going to take me time.
Going back to that expectations that we're talking about. Now you have spoken expectation. Now you tell them, listen, this is what it is. This is where I am. And you guys can meet each other at that place and build together. Because now your partner will know, okay, if she acts or he reacts like that, oh, maybe this, let me do this, or let me try this a different way, or ask each other for help. You are partners. You're supposed to help each other. You're supposed to help carry each other, not
Right. Right.
not
And
break each
so,
other down.
in fact, like I think about this. So, you share your perspective of coming in from a place of hurt, but I'll share this perspective as someone coming in and knowing that Denise was hurt while we were dating. It was being patient with them and trying to be understanding. And I did mess up sometimes, right? Expecting her to be where I am, but it might have took her a little longer to get where I was. Or maybe I was slower than she wanted to go. But the idea was that we stayed in communication.
Right. That's true.
So if there's one thing to take away from this about embracing new love is communicate with that person. Forgive yourself, forgive your past,
Yes.
forgive broken trust and mean words. And, you mentioned this, Denise, about speaking over yourself.
Yeah.
There's power in your words, life and death, and the power it's in your words of what you say about yourself and others.
Right.
So think about that. Think about the power of your words and what you say about yourself,
Right.
what you say about relationships and love.
Right.
And what does that mean for
Right.
your future?
And even if somebody said something over you, it's not the truth. You got to speak over yourself. I spoke over myself. I said, I am a wife. I am a loving wife, and so you got to believe it too. Although, I say it, and especially to whether you're a woman that got hurt or a man that got hurt, you got to believe it, that there is somebody out there that will love you, see you, and just bless the socks off of you, for real.
Bless them socks off.
No, really, it is true. It happened to me, and I don't think I'm that special, that I can only be the one that blessed or anything. But I'm just saying that because I know that, sometimes we plan a life with somebody and it doesn't happen. You give up hope, and you think hope is not alive. No, be hopeful.
Well, you're special to me, Denise.
Oh, thank you.
So on that note, we're going to end this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you took some notes from it. We just really want to pour into you, encourage you to say that there's still hope for romance. There's still hope for
Right.
love. There's still hope for relationship. If you're single, if you're married, if you're divorced, there's hope that you will be okay. And we are here for you. So don't forget, share this with your friends. If you listen to this by yourself, share with your partner, your spouse.
Right.
More importantly, go online, give us a good review. That helps it spread to other people and
Right.
spread hope for romance. So, Denise, any final thoughts?
If you have any questions, anything, send it to us and we will be glad to answer those questions, because I know when we talk about a topic, we might not touch on everything, or people might have a question like, oh, I want to ask this. You have an opportunity to ask.
So there you have it. So make sure you go to the notes on the podcast page.
Right.
Click that link and that'll take you to our podcast page where you can ask questions, see when future episodes come out. Make sure you subscribe. And
Right.
so that concludes this episode of Hopeful Romantics. Until next time, our friends, stay in love.
Bye.